Hi guys, welcome to another episode of It Doesn't Have to Be Perfect. I'm your host Janine, and today I'm in my car. I wanted to do something a little different because today, this podcast, It Doesn't Have to Be Perfect, is a year old, okay? I'm so excited. Okay, so when I first started this podcast, I really wanted to start something. I was like at a job that I hated, and I knew that I wanted to do social media, but I didn't know where to start. And so I started with recording on my iPhone and recording my thoughts. And it's been a year since that journey started, and I'm still going at it. And I'm going to stay here. You're going to see a lot more from me. And I'm so excited. I'm so happy that I was able to just even get this momentum going with this podcast, because it's something that I always wanted to do. And, it's always like so nerve-wracking because like you're putting yourself out there, and even if it's like only a few people, like it is terrifying. And so I'm really proud of myself for starting it at all, so yeah, it's happy 1 year to It Doesn't Have to Be Perfect. And today I wanted to talk about being stuck in the past. So I would consider myself a person who is always like planning for the future and has goals, right? I always have like a new goal set, and the goalpost is always moving forward. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's very much like it's human nature to want to do better and to want to do more. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. But then there's like times in my life where I'm like, okay, like what am I doing? Like, is this really like what I want to do? Like, is this really where I want to move forward to? And then I start reflecting on my past and the things that I've experienced and the people that I've known and the people that are not in my life anymore. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, because the past month or so, I have found myself kind of just like, I'm not proud of this, and I hate to admit this, but we get vulnerable on this podcast, so I'm going to say it. I've been like finding myself like stalking people, or not stalking people, but like looking up people from my past, and I'm not really one to do that. Like, again, like I'm always like looking forward, like what's happening next, what's up and coming, what am I doing right now, like what am I working on right now, my friends right now, my friendships right now, my everything now, right? But like lately I've been like noticing myself just like going and like seeing like people from my past and like what they're up to. And it's like, and I hate it. Every time I do it, I'm like, I feel like not guilty, but like the sense of like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I not following my own advice? And I remember this one time, it was like 2 years ago already, like 2-3 years ago. I had reconnected with Rob. We remember Rob, right? That's the code name for one of my exes who I got arrested. That's another story. You can go back and listen to that one. But I remember we were catching up after like years of not talking to each other, not seeing each other. And I remember I said something along the lines of, because he was like not trying to rekindle. Well, maybe. Like he was like trying to like, was making hints at like, oh, what would it be like if we got back together? Ha ha ha, isn't it crazy? And I was like, I don't know. I'm not really interested in that. I genuinely just wanted to see how you are. And I just wanted to know that you're good and life is good, Like, I wasn't interested in that. I just really wanted to catch up, like, genuinely. And, like, that's, speaking for me, I'm like, that's rare. So I remember, like, he was just like talking about those things, and I remember saying to him, and this is something that I got off of like Tumblr, or not Tumblr, like Pinterest or like Instagram or something, right? And it was like, people who live in the past are depressed, people who live in the future are anxious, and people who live in the present are calm and they're grounded and they're good. And so I remember saying that to him, and I remember that really resonated with him. Like, even like after that conversation, like he brought it up again. He was like, what you said just really resonated with me. And needless to say, after that, we didn't really talk because he really took that advice to heart. And he was like, I'm focusing on the past and you focus on the future. And now he has a girlfriend and I'm like, oh, good for you, dude. And all that stuff. I'm like, listen, like, it's not like I look these people up like in hopes of like rekindling something with them, like friendships or like exes. Like, it's not that. It's just like I don't know what it is lately, right? Maybe it's like I'm in a transition phase, like we are approaching fall. It's like shedding season, and it just got me thinking, like, why is it that some people too are like just like so like nostalgic than others too? Like, currently I've been buying a lot of like DVDs and CDs because it's like simpler. Like, it's a simpler time for me. Like, when I think about the times that I had my, The Incredibles DVD and my Selena Gomez Kiss and Tell like CD, like, it was times where I was just in the present moment and I was happy and I was only a kid, and I would get so excited about these like stories and these characters, and I still get so excited and happy when I watch a good film or I'm watching a good TV show. I love storytelling. I love just like, I just love film in general. And so like, I'm just like, why is it that I'm holding on so much to like this nostalgia? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know yet. And, I usually like to have an answer on here when I come and talk to you guys, but I'm gonna be so for real. Like, I think there's a balance of like, if you're doing it excessively of like holding on to the past, that's when it gets a little, okay, dude, like, come on, like, we're living now. This is the present moment. Like, let's focus on now. But like, just like the little innocent, like, oh my God, I want to eat mac and cheese because my mom would make it as a kid. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing, like, there's like little things that we pick up from our childhood and our past that we take with us in the present moment and we do in that present moment. Like, for example, like something my mom would always do at night with us, she would have us do a prayer, right? And at night, I don't always do this, but like sometimes I'll like pray or like meditate and like try to just like be thankful and like say thank you for the day, And that's something that I carried on with me from my past, and I'm carrying on into the present moment and what I do in my like routine. Or, it's just like a lot of like little things like that, like foods that I grew up loving, like mole, like Mexican mole. Like, I love mole, okay? I like will make it as many times as I can, even though it's like a large meal to make. It just brings me so much joy, and I love it, and I'm attached to that, like, that food group. But to me, it's a whole like food group, okay? Like mole, like my mom making it, and like me coming home from school, and like me just like having like 2 bowls of it, and watching Disney Channel. It was such a good time. And of course I'm looking at it in rose colored sunglasses or whatever, but like, so what? Like, so what? Like, what's so bad about romanticizing your past? Like, I mean, maybe if like you grew up in like an abusive household or like with an abusive partner, like, maybe don't romanticize that. Like, I don't think anyone is trying to romanticize that at all. But yeah, like, there are certain things in my past that I'm like, I like bringing this now into my now. It's a really nice thing to have now, because then I can also pass those things down to my kids. And who knows, like, maybe my mom, I haven't asked her this. This is a good question to ask her. Like, what is it, like, nostalgia wise, that you've brought into like my childhood, and like, what is it about my childhood that like you resonate with, because that's what grandma did, with you growing up? That's a really good question, actually. I need to jot that down. But yeah, I don't think like looking at your past is always like a negative thing. It's not. Again, it's a balancing act of like, there are certain things that you want to take forward with you, like from your past, and that's not a bad thing at all. And I'm not going to beat myself up over looking up people from my past, but I know that it doesn't help anything, because like they're not in my life anymore, and that's okay. That's okay. And like being conscious of it too, like just being conscious of it, I'm like, okay, like you know how you're going to feel. So let's not do that. Instead, let's look at a comedian's page or an influencer that I like who is like body positivity or like anything like positive like that. I'll just like steer or like turn the other way, okay? Like in my little, when I'm navigating social media, like I'll just steer the other way, or like I'll look at a friend's profile now and comment something nice on them and like have that engagement. Like just like I think the best thing that I've done for myself is, again, like acknowledge it and shift what I'm going to do with it when I feel like want to look someone up or whatever, like, because it just doesn't make me feel great. It doesn't make me feel good, and it's really useless. Let's be honest, it's completely useless. So yeah, that's all I had for today. I don't know, like I think also the fall time is very nostalgic for me because like I have so many memories attached to fall. Like it's when school started. It's when the weather got nicer. I mean, it is Arizona, but still, like, it gets a little bit nicer. Like, it doesn't get as hot anymore. And then pumpkin spice and everything nice. Like, I love the fall. I love the decor. I love the dishes. I love just, like, the vibe that, like, every store has, too. And, like, the drinks and just everything about fall I love. It just brings me back to new beginnings, and I'm ready for new beginnings. I'm so excited. It's like I've talked about this before, but things have like gradually been changing in my life, and they're all like coming into fruition now, and I'm so excited. And yeah, it's been a year of this podcast, guys, and I'm so happy for the people that have supported it and followed and liked and shared it. Thank you so much, like truly. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it for me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.